Akai Force 3.5 update. Akai Force 3.5 update. Akai Force 3.5 update. I am here with the Akai Force 3.5 update. I am going to make a beat completely from scratch, utilizing all plugins and one drum kit. At the end, I'm going to add a Muhammad Ali sample over the arrangement. We're going to do a bunch of automation. It's going to be a great day. No cuts, no edits, straight through, so you can see the workflow for yourself. What's going on, guys? It's your brother OTG. Real name, no gimmicks. Charles Paris. That's me. And I am here today with the Akai Force. And I have the 3.5 update. I enjoyed the Akai Force. You know, I think the 3.5 update to the Akai Force makes the Akai Force really good. I know it's in the Akai Force 3.5 update beta. I do know that it's a beta, but and my second or third day, this is the third day of usage. You know, I haven't really had any bugs, so I turned the camera on and we're here. So right now I am in Conant Gardens. It's one of my expansions. You could get all of these. 3 years ago, I made a bunch of expansions for the MPC, and over the years I've just collectively put them on my store, so that way you guys can have the same stuff and we can work together. I price everything extremely cheap because it's not like I'm trying to spite these companies or do anything. You know, it's just for learning purposes and a way that you guys can show your appreciation to the channel and help out and keep new gear and everything going. You could get that from the gumroad below. So right now I have the Igbo. I think it's called Igbo, is the kit that I'm loading. And we're going to go slow today, so just sit back. It's probably going to be about an hour. It's probably only going to take like 20 minutes to get the beat together, but I'm going to do a bunch of extra stuff afterwards. I just want to see how 3.5 for the Force is actually going to handle a straight through type of workflow. I don't really stop a lot. I just kind of keep going. And to some people, you know, because I may not do a bunch of shifting the notes or this, that, or the other, you know, my background is that I create beats for people to make music to, or to talk over, talk beds for TV, or I may make a shell of a beat and ship it out to a band, and then they kind of grow it. So the type of music I make, you know, I'm not really trying to go out and win everybody's beat contest, or I know how to do a lot of things. I've been producing for over 20 years. That's why I do the master classes the way that I do, so you could just see somebody consistently making music every single day, because I've been making music every single day for over 20 years. And all of the music that I make is with the intent of some kind of usage. You know, whether it is for instrumental tapes, whether it's for rappers to freestyle, whatever we're doing, whether it's for you to play in your restaurant in the background quietly while people are eating. Part of my other job is I'm a salesman. You know, I sell cars, I sold cars, I sold music for artists, manage artists. So while I'm in there working the artists or engineering an event and we need to have music, I'll just throw some beats on in the background. That's where this comes in. So with that being said, in my workflow, I might not push the limits in ways that other guys push the limits creatively. But what I do like to show people is that you can use these machines to create music every day. You know, and the key is to find a workflow that when you want to feel creative, you can create. So when I make these videos, part of the reason why I just grab random drum kits is I'm still learning the sounds in my library. I tell people all the time, a lot of my students, that having a good library is important. You know, you can go out and I have all of these plugins, but why do I use the presets in these videos? Because I need to hear how the presets work in real time. I need to go through each one of the folders. It's foolish to think that in a day I'm going to go through all of the piano sounds, all of the horn sounds, all of the sounds, and I'll know them. I'll know if I'll ever apply them. No, that's not realistic. So for me, what I do is in real time, I grab random drum kits. I find different sounds that I normally wouldn't pick. I have my drum kits for beats I make all the time. But in this method, I find new drum sounds. I make new types of beats. I try different types of presets. I try different progressions, different things that I normally wouldn't try. And the workflow kind of always gets me to a finalized product. You know what I mean? Yes. So hopefully you guys like this new camera setup. I'm trying to get it to stop moving as much. Also went through, rewired my mic, so right now I have a headset mic on. So excuse me if you can hear the breath or hear different things, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to work it out. I like my Shure SM7B, but I also bought this headset mic so I can make beats and talk to you guys at the same time while I'm making beats. But this mic was all kinds of crazy. So today we're trying it for the first time with the new settings and really sitting down and trying to hone it in. I don't have a noise gate on, so you might hear some background sounds, all kinds of other stuff. But you know, we'll slowly work on it. That's been the thing with the channel, is this is a work in process. When I look at some of the old videos, I can tell from the quality to now that it's just been a slow thing. But one thing I've always wanted to keep showing you guys is we can make beats, we can get music. And so part of what I want to show you today is how to take a simple drum kit. This drum kit is super simple. I've never heard it, but we're going to make something, and we're going to turn this kit into something. We're going to turn these simple loops into a more extravagant type of arrangement. So right now I'm adding the granulator. I really like the granulator. Make sure that you always check out your old plugins. Don't ever think because something is new, oh, I have something new, so my old stuff doesn't work anymore. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Just try to always remember all of the things that you have. Put some hours on them, put some time on them. So then in certain times you'll know the application. Right now I'm adding Flavor Pro. I'm going to go through, and we're just taking the sound from Analog Dreams. So right now, to recap, I have one drum kit, Igbo from Conant Gardens. You can get that. I recommend getting the Stimmy kit, but you can check out the expansions. For the Force users, you just drag and drop it onto your SD or your internal. I have an internal hard drive inside of my Force. So you just put it on your internal in the expansions, and it'll show up in the Finder the right way. I would recommend getting the Stimmy pack. It gives you lifetime updates, and especially now that the Force with the 3.5 update is really running really well, and it's probably going to always stay on my table. I'll be making a lot more kits. I'm going to get into making some presets for the plugins, a bunch of different other creative stuff, so I would check that out. So we have the Igbo kit, we have Analog Dreams. On Analog Dreams right now, I have the granulator and we just added Flavor Pro. I tend to always have a track, so you guys will see right now I just added Sub Factory. You want to remember that even on the MPC, when you open up, if you go to Pad Perform or Notes mode, if you're using a progression, when you open up your next plugin, it always opens with the progressions still loaded. So you need to go back and change it to scales or whatever play mode so you can get single notes if you're using like a bass or something else. It will stay in key. It also will remember if you go back to progression, it won't erase whatever progression you were losing. So it'll still be there as well. But what you want to do, sometimes if you leave it in progression, you'll find some cool sounds if you're playing something with limited, that's maybe only got 2 voices or 3 voices of polyphony. You know, that's something that you could do with your sound design. You know, the progression might be playing 4 pads. 4 keys, 5 keys. You could turn the polyphony down to 3, and it might give you a weird result that might still sound musical or melodic. But one of the keys, always go back and turn that back to scales. So right now, I have Sub Factory in. So what I was saying is I always have an audio channel open because I have other gear. Right now, the way that I have this, the force is at the end of my audio chain. So I have the OP1 going into the Verse Lab going into the SP404, the SP404 coming into the force. And the way that I have my force set up by default is it opens with an audio track with merge for the audio already turned on, so I can automatically sample as soon as my force opens. And because I like to use other sounds and other things, I just leave that audio track in until I realize or know that I'm not going to use it. So that's why there's always, my second track is always an audio track. My first track, it always loads Fabric. One of the things I tell people a lot is make sure, one, that you do what I'm doing now. You go through and you housekeep. You double click on the top, make sure you name your channels so that way you don't get lost. And for the future, right now you know what it is, but if you save this project and don't come back for 6 months, you want to have everything labeled properly so that way you know. 2, remember that your synths already have reverb and delay on there. So you could go to your track edit, you know, just press edit and whatever pad, whatever sound you want to edit into drums or on a drum track, and it'll take you over to your track edit. If you do it on a key group, it'll still take you to the advanced key group screen. Alright, so you can go access your synths from there. If you press shift plus clip, it'll take you to whatever plugin you're using. It'll take it to its UI or where you can go and edit there. So today I'm going to use Mellotron. I really like, there's only like 2 sounds that I like on Mellotron. I use it a lot. I've used other sounds, but I use these choir sounds all the time for the specifics of like dots, or that's what I call them. I call them dots. They're little sounds that I can put in there, and then if I want, I can pan them later. I can turn them down. They add a little bit of atmosphere to whatever it is that I'm creating. So I utilize Mellotron a lot. It's one of those things of telling you guys, make sure that you utilize your old samples, your old plugins. what I told you guys in other videos, one thing I really appreciate about the Force, some people complain about it, but I like that everything is right in front of your face. You know, so a lot of the beats that I make on the Force are a little bit more intricate and have a little bit more sound design. I do a little bit more with the plugins than I normally do because I have the 8 other Q links and it's right in front of my face. You know, even with the Q links to the side, sometimes out of sight, out of mind. A lot of times the way that I produce, my brain is thinking of the next sound in real time. People ask me that all the time, how do I make decisions so quickly, or how do I just trust my instincts and go with the sound? Well, when I'm writing the name of this sound, I'm already thinking of the next one. What do I want? What sounds good? I try to, you know, I worked with this engineer. His name is Spawn Vicious. He is DJ Jazzy Jeff's road manager and Black Thought Type Man and a couple of the guys from the Roots Engineer. I remember one session he said the thing about producing is what makes you a good producer is how fast you can find the sound that you're hearing in your head. I never forgot that, you know. I think about that all the time. I spend a lot of time practicing and a lot of time on my machines because I think about, you know, there's a Jay-Z line for everything. He said, you know, he spends every day doing 2 a day so he don't drop the ball when it's thrown his way. It's the same thing as what Spawn said. I spend a lot of time thinking of the sounds and sounds that go together and how I can mesh those sounds and what I could do with those sounds. I like making music. As much as I come from sampling, I do like making music from scratch. No loops, no nothing. You know what I mean? Even if we are creating simple loops, we can turn those into deep sound beds and really create our own sounds from scratch, and then we never have to pay anybody else. You know, they're ours. And so I appreciate doing that, and I appreciate the creativity that it allows me as a person who comes from hip-hop to create sounds and different things, again, that I would normally not make, and then turn those sounds into different kinds of beats in hip-hop and provide that for my community and different people. So a lot of times I'm thinking, like right now, I'm already thinking that a guitar would sound good with this. And then my brain starts going through all the guitar sounds that I know. Do I want an electric guitar? Do I want an acoustic guitar? Do I want a guitar that sounds like a rock and roll guitar? Or do I want like a country and western guitar? Do I want a guitar that sounds picked? Do I want it to have reverb? Do I want it to have delay? I'm thinking of all those things, you know, what's the next sound? So, the next sound's going to be a guitar, and I know where to go get guitars in Fabric XL, you know, so it has the most presets, it has a full library. I really appreciate Fabric, you know, with a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb, a little bit of flavor, you can turn a basic sound into your sound. But before we get into all that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you check out everything I have at the Gumroad. You can follow me on all social media. Just hit the Linktree link. Make sure you support this channel by leaving a comment. You know, salute to all the Force users. My video yesterday showed me that there's a lot of people who still have the Force. And so, you know, it's dope that we're still out here. And because of that, you guys motivated me to really just hop back on this thing. You know, I'm going to spend some time learning some of this other advanced stuff that I might not use. And we're going to come back and just grow this channel out and really show some real-time application of the force. I'll leave it to the other guys to go through and show you their thoughts about different things and the bugs and all that. They're better for it. Sometimes you leave the jobs for people who do it the best. You leave it for them to do, and I'm that type of guy. I'll definitely just pay somebody if they're better, and I'll definitely let somebody else have their lane if that's their lane. My lane is just turning on the camera and making music and talking to you guys while I make the music. So right now, I definitely feel like the Force is more responsive. You guys, all you Force users who have 3.5, you let me know. I definitely feel like the Force is more responsive. It moves pretty quickly, and I think that's one of the biggest pluses of this 3.5 update to me, is that it always moved fast, but it kind of still felt like a little slow, but you kind of dealt with it because it's from 2019. You know what I mean? Like, it might take a couple seconds to load. It might take a couple seconds to do something. You know, right now, everything is working perfectly the way that I see it. There's a couple small things that are a little different. Oh, here's a great, right now, here's something perfect. The screen is on the mixer, but the pads are launching clips. Here's one of those stark differences from the MPC. You know, people have been saying, what are the differences from the MPC and the Force? Here's one of those things. Like right now, I got my mixer screen up, but I am building out my arrangement on the Matrix. So I just deleted the guitar and the bell, which is 6 and 7, or 5 and 6, excuse me. I'm getting the arrangement together, so I just erased the Mellotron. So right now, we're about to go to Analog Dreams, Drums, and Sub Factory. Now, I just made it Analog Dreams in the drums, and you see we're shifting it on time. But right now, my screen's still on the mixer screen, so this is one of those things that I really appreciate. I gotta get used to Hold and Matrix first, and then press and navigate. I thought I did it, but, you know, we're just gonna go to this button now. Now we're at the home screen. Now I'm gonna go to my track edit. Go edit some of these drums in the effects channel, the drum effects. Always remember you have your drum effects. I hit the knobs button, and now I'm adding bass. You can see I'm pumping up the kick a little bit. You can see the kick on the step sequencer. And now I'm hit the knobs button. I turned the filter type from high pass to low pass. And now I'm just going to see what it sounds like with a low pass filter. I don't know if I'm going to keep the low pass filter, but we're going to see what it sounds like with the low pass filter. I'm going to add a little soft clipper. You can't be scared to turn your knobs. So you might, if you can't hear what is affecting, then turn it all the way to the right and get a full wet value. Then turn it back to the left and hear it normal. You know, then find your sweet spot. You know, you can read a lot of manuals about mixing and mastering and doing all this stuff, you know, and maybe over time, maybe by the end of this year, I'll start going live and I'll spend 2 or 3 hours on one beat and I'll just go in depth of showing you how to mix or do certain things. You know, a lot of times these workflows, even though it's in real time, I'm still aware that I'm recording. And and I'm still aware that I don't want to put up a 2-hour or hour and 40-minute video unless I'm just naturally going or it's late night. I started this early in the morning. You know, I have sessions and stuff to do today, but in a different time and space, instead of doing a quick mix, I would really go more in depth. So right now I press shift and record. I'm recording the arrangement. I want to show you guys how to do automation. If you swipe down, you know, you can access all of your stuff, all of some other things you might want to utilize, like automation, your tuner, timing correct, things of that nature. So what I want to do is I want to mute drums and do some muting to the arrangement in real time. This is my first time doing this on the Akai Force. I've never done mutes on the Akai Force, but since we have the Akai Force 3.5 update, I feel like let me try some of the things that I would not normally try and get this done. So right now I'm going to try to run the mutes and do certain things at the same time. I think first, because I'm a little rusty, I'm just going to start the arrangement, get the arrangement going, and once I get the feel, we'll go ahead and turn those mutes on and we'll do the mutes. I feel like sometimes if you have some issues, see, here we go. Sometimes if you have some issues getting started, especially if you're trying something new, you might want to just go ahead and start what you know works and then take your time and just come back and do it again. You know, on the MPC, some mistakes might cost you. Like if you automate something the wrong way at the wrong time, it might cost you a lot of time to go in and have to go through the list edit and find each time you press the value on each track and everything that you might want to go and fix. You get what I mean? So you have to think about when you're automating and how you're automating. You gotta kind of pre-plan that. You gotta be mindful of that, for sure. So like right now that I'm feeling the vibes, I'm muting the drums and I'm launching different clip rows at different times. Right now you can see all of the clips are about the same length. I think in the video I did yesterday, I'll put that down in the description. You know, I had a bunch of different clips doing different things. A 2-bar drum, 8-bar loop, 4-bar this, 2-bar that, you know, 16-bar this. You know, it's all on how you feel and what the vibes are. Y'all saw this vibe happen in real time, and what I'm going to do, what we are going to do, is take this to the next level. So make sure you stay to the end. Right now we're checking out the Akai Force 3.5 update beta. You know, on the standalone device I have 5 plugins in right now. We have Analog Dreams, we have Mellotron, we have Subfactory, and we have 2 instances of Fabric XL. I'm still going to add a Muhammad Ali sample at the time while making this, because you know sometimes I do voiceovers. Like I said earlier, we're on the headset now, we're testing it. After I get done with this today, I'm going to really try and get the noise gate right. I didn't feel like, same thing I just told you guys on the MPC, I didn't feel like dealing with it. I was trying to get it right, and when I started recording, it kept cutting out parts of my words, which was making things sound crazy or making me have to scream or be louder than what I normally want to be. So I just cut it off totally. So you could probably hear background noise, people coming in and out of the studio, all kinds of things. And if you can't, good job. So this is a voiceover. I'm watching this over and I'm just kind of talking you through the steps. My goal is to eventually get it how I did my Reason videos at the beginning of, and my Ableton videos, where we talk through as we make the decisions. I don't like having the mic in my face. I'm going to hit that back to arrangement. I got the Shure SM7B with the table mount and all that cool stuff, but I'm weird, bro. I don't like that big arm hanging over my table. I don't like it in my peripheral. So a lot of times I put it on a table mount and I'll just hold it, or I'll hold it. And it gets difficult sometimes switching hands and doing things. So I bought a very nice headset probably a year ago. But this is how dedicated I am to creating music. I never set it up properly. You know, I just knew that eventually we'll get the time to sit down and get it right. But the first thing that we're doing is making music. Why does that matter? Because, again, you know, we're on the Akai Force. It came out in 2019. To my left, I have the VerseLab MV1, which is something, you know, people say they didn't like, or it didn't have value, or this, that, or the third, but it's extremely deep. You know, it could hook up to the, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, when I buy stuff with the intent to learn it through and through, and I give myself time to learn it. I start with learning my workflow first. How can I get the job done, the job that pays me? How can I utilize this to get this done? Boom. Once I understand how to do that right now, real quick, I just turned the automation on. Now I'm going to do pad mutes. So this is the pad mixer. If you hold the mute button, you can mute your drums. And so what I'm going to do is record this automation in and mute parts of the drums. So this is how we're going to take a simple drum loop from the step sequencer, and we are going to give it some variation inside of our beat. So first things first is we made all of our loops. Then we separated it sound by sound. Then we set up a basic arrangement. Then while we made that arrangement, we did some basic muting. Now, the next thing that we're doing is automating drums. So turning off hi-hats, shakers, the snare every now and then. So before we just turned the drums, whole drum kit on and off. Now we're turning the events on and off. You know, and as I go, the way, because I am present to what I'm creating, I can remember when, what, and how. So also, because I just did this, I remember where I just cut the drums off. Cutting the drums off first allows me time to press multiple pads and turn them back on, see? And doing that gives me time when they're muted to turn them back on. So all of these things are efficiency things, right? All of these things are efficiency things. They will definitely help you get the job done without running into a bunch of mistakes. And instead of doing this very early and then having looping automation, we could do it over the whole track, and we can watch the track kind of grow and hear it grow and evolve. All right. So make sure you stay to the end because we still got more automation to do. I'm gonna automate the faders, and then I'm gonna add that Muhammad Ali sample at the end. What I was saying is I get my workflow right on the machine, and then while I'm not working, you know, days where you get on there and you try to make a beat and you feel like you're not making anything, that's where I go down and start to learn more. I might try this for a day, I might try that for a day, and I'm okay with it because if I spend 2 hours but I don't save anything, the purpose wasn't to make a beat in that session. The purpose was to learn in that session, to try to find some things and just get more familiar with button placement, muscle memory, and things of that nature, right? So again, here goes the sidebar. One of those things that I really appreciate about the Force, now we're looking at the arrangement window while we're still automating the mutes. You know, so this is one of those things that's different from the MPC. One of the major differences, you wouldn't think about that. You know, some people will argue, oh, it can, it can't. Okay, well, you're watching me do it and how I apply it, and that really helps. You know, for me, it's letting me know how much time is left and what I'm trying to automate, right? So I'm going to press stop. What I've realized too on the MPC is even if you want to do multiple automations, that's just however many minutes of automation that just was. I think that is smart to turn the automation off and then back on. Turn it off, stop, press stop a couple times, play from the beginning, verify that the automation is there. Then if you want to automate again, turn it back on. I found out that has given me less bugs, and from a machine standpoint that makes the most sense, kind of, right? It's like you got all this stuff in the memory, you don't want to overload the messages in the memory, so you want to stop, turn it off. That gives the machine, okay, I'm going to lock this information in, boom. Now when you press stop, it gives it time to print the information over the track. When you press play, it gives you time to verify if it's there and you like the basics of it. And then now it gives it also time for you to come back and automate the next part. So right now on the main track, I am loading the EQ. I know that these drums, I'm going to do some basic turning it up, and I know that you can clip, so I can hear the drum clipping because I turned the kick, I can hear the kick clipping. Also because I didn't side chain the kick to the 808. I can hear the distortion coming on when the 808 hits a certain note. So what I'm going to do instead of side chaining is I'm going to utilize the gain. I added some EQ. I focused in the frequency on what I want on the whole beat, which is including the sub and all the rest of the stuff that has bass in the entire beat. But then I know that I can come back to the kick and I can do some things to fix that kick. So one, I went back, I turned some of the bass down. I used the gain to trim it, to tuck it right under where the distortion is. So now I added the MPC 60 emulator on the main channel. And my workflow decision for that is I like to do all of this at this point before I start to automate my faders. So if you guys ever watch my videos, notice that I don't really do too much fader work. And that's because by the time we get everything together, I haven't went through and added all of the plugins I wanted to add for effects and things of that nature. But in this video, I'm going to go past what I would normally do. So now we're turning on the automation. And what I'm going to do is automate the faders. And you don't have to do one fader at a time. I've noticed that with the Force, or maybe even on the MPC, you have to touch it one time to select it and then touch it again and it'll move. If you notice how I'm doing it, I have my thumb on the little lip of the Force to give myself a kind of leverage, and then I'm going to use my thumb to roll my hand back and forth, so that way I can get a little bit more of intricate movements. And now you can see the mute coming on and off. You can see the red box switching back and forth, be it from what's selected. And you could do multiple faders at one time. You just seen I did two. I'm sure that if I went through my knob screen, there's probably I could switch my knobs to do it now that I'm thinking about it afterwards. That's one of those things that I will test out if I remember, and then it'd probably be even smoother. But sometimes it's cool to interface with the screen. So now we're just doing some basic volume, some basic up and down movement, and taking this pretty simple beat and turning it into something that has movement, that has feel to it. I didn't tell you guys that I added swing to it early. I also sped it up early. So it started at maybe 86 BPM. I think right now it is at 88.67. Always remember to keep the small numbers, the point, whatever. That's part of what gives your beat the feel. Never round off. I used to round off all the time, and then I worked with a bunch of real musicians, and that's where I learned that tip. So right now I'm still automating. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. I'm going to add this to the Force Masterclass. I'm going to probably set that up today or tomorrow. And if you guys are familiar with my master classes, that's where you'll be able to get all of the videos that I create for a specific machine in one place. And you can download them, watch them when you want. I'll create different levels so you can, one level will be basic, it'll just be the videos. The next level will come with some sounds. The next level will come with all of the sounds and everything that I have for whatever machine. Everything I create comes with lifetime updates. When I get around to it and I update it again. So I'll make a post. So make sure you're subscribed to my account, and I'll make a post and post the masterclass, and we'll have our first 1 hour video. Very quickly it'll grow to 10 or 15 hours worth of video, and throughout these videos you'll find things that will help you with your workflow and other things. So we have the automation in. What I want to do now is I want to do some slight panning. I want to do some slight panning of the Mellotron choir, the dots. I want to move those just a little bit at certain times. Towards the end of the beat, I want to do some panning of the bells and the guitar. And throughout the whole by doing some panning and moving this stuff out of the center, it'll give our drums room to live in the center. It'll give our 808 room to live in the center. And this will also create space for a vocal that we're going to put in, which is going to be Muhammad Ali. Shout out to you if you watched this far. You know, again, I probably have a knob screen that will do all of this panning and all of this stuff. I will definitely check it out. If you know already, leave it in the comments. You know, but right now I'm using my left hand to do analog dreams and my right hand to switch between different instruments. So where the red box are rotary or main knob controls that, and wherever our knobs say, right now I have it on track 1, it's controlling the pan of the main sound, which is analog dreams. You guys can see the mutes on the drums coming on and off, you know. And now you should be able to feel the movement. Hopefully, there won't be any compression on the audio, so you can hear how quiet the audio was at the beginning. And now you can hear the changes that are done at the end right now as we get close to the end. And you can hear the difference. This is the sound coming straight out of the force, not running through the SP, not running through anything else. So there is no color, it's just the force outputs. You can see out the back that I have the SP plugged into the Akai force. You can see I have the USB cord, and I do have my favorite keyboard, my Nano Key 2. I know you guys, I have bigger keyboards. You just like what you like, man. I love the OP1 field. You guys hate it. You know what I mean? Like, you like what you like, and that's okay. You don't have to be in the groupthink of what everybody else likes. If you like it, then that's all that matters. And that's how I am with the gear. Some gear, I like it. I love the Akai Force, especially with the 3.5 update. Alright, so we're going to turn that automation off. Boom. Now we're going to listen through. I'm going to listen, and maybe I may add a couple of other things. See? We got to go back. I want to get the beginning of the track. So that's why we're going back, is I did the end, or probably about 25 seconds in. But it's super important to get it early. That'll provide space where we're going to put our vocal at. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I see some movement from the other one. So you see, now I can see the movement on the other tracks. So now I know I'm at the same space of where I automated in the past. And I could stop now. We turn our automation off. And see, now we successfully matched. We got automation, we got fader automation, we have mute automation. You know, we got low fly dirt on our 808, on our sub factory. We have granulator on our analog dreams. We have Air Flavor Pro on our analog dreams. We have a couple of things going through the reverb send and delay. Right now I'm looking for speeches. This might be a glitch because when I was sitting and I searched, I know I have them, but it was not showing up. And maybe it would put more time, but I was not trying to wait. I have a bunch of speeches and a bunch of things, you know, so I was definitely thinking I was going to be able to get that, but instead we're just going to go and get it. I know my music folder, so you can see these are all MP3s, albums on albums on albums, and then I have folders over 10,000 random MP3s that I've been carrying for years, since the LimeWire days. I'm going to turn off the Audition so it doesn't play over our beat. I'm going to use the scroll bar to scroll down to speeches. I'm going to get the Muhammad Ali, I Am the Greatest. I'm going to press load to pull so we don't make a mistake and load it to the wrong thing. I'm going to come to the sample editor. I'm going to switch over to my pad. That's right. I'm going to use my start position just like a needle drop. So I'm going to keep moving my playhead and pressing the play button until I find where our sample starts. I was thinking about using the stems, but I'm not. I'm just going to assign it to one pad. And now I'm going to come out. I'm going to
I am the greatest.
Come over and play the sample screen too.
This is the legend of Cassius Clay.
You see, now I'm moving fast because I have the idea. Now I'm looking for the knobs on the live too. I still get confused sometimes.
This is the legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. He talks a great deal and brags indeed of a muscular punch that's incredibly speedy.
So now we're messing with
I am the greatest.
The level. And once I get that together, it is a little buggy sometimes. So here is a bug that I kind of notice, is when you want to come and record over the arrangement, like right now. I did that and it disappeared. I was just playing on the drum track, so now it made a note on the wrong thing. So now I'm going to go get my record arm. I'm going to select, maybe it was user error. We're going to press record again, shift and record to the arrangement. I want one note just to come on at the beginning. All we want to do is just trigger that.
This is the legend of Cassius Clay.
So I should be able to press stop, but there's nothing there. Okay, so maybe it's because I'm at the clip view. So this is where you start problem solving. So let's do it again. Shift plus record to arrangement, press play, boom. I press the pad, still nothing. So now the only thing I can do is select something else and go back, select the channel again, put a fake clip in, then delete it. You know, try to trigger some other things on that channel so that it actually recognizes. And again, I'm not saying I did something right. I probably could have did something wrong. If you know me, you know I pretty much always assume that it could be user error first before it's machine error. But now when I hit shift and record and press play, and I do it, when I let go, you can see the notice there. If we press play, we can audition it. It's just weird that I had to go through all of those steps.
This is the legend of Cassius
You know, and again, it could be user error.
Fighter in the world today.
but I feel like almost every time I try to do that, try to play something or do something in that nature, I get caught in that little loop. And so again, it could be something that I'm doing, or it could be a bug, right? But at the end of the day, anyway it goes, we figured it out. So now I'm going to do some basic, getting the volume right. And we're going to turn the automation on.
This kid's got a left. I am the greatest.
And I have a part that I just auditioned what I want. I'm not going to let the whole speech play.
The most beautiful fighter in the world.
I'm going to let it play to a certain part, and then we're going to turn it off. We're going to bring the volume down.
That's incredibly speedy.
I'm going to add a couple sins, and those sins will probably still be able to hear something, even though the volume is down. So I might have to mute the track still. But we're going to try the easiest option first.
And the heavyweight championship is his destiny.
Boom. I'm going to let it play for a while, just in case, you know, if I press stop and then it just automatically resets, that, you know, we have a long enough part, we can actually see if we need to fix it later. We can see where it comes back on. I don't think it will, but just in case it does, we're going to we're going to let it play just for a little bit. So if you stayed this long, shout out to you. You can see that one straight shot, we went from nothing all the way to this. So the Akai Force 3.5 beta update for Charles, your brother, OTG, it works great for me. I just wanted to show you how stable it was for me. You know, not to say that it's not for you guys, but for guys who are looking and wanting to see how can you utilize it, what is a workflow that you can utilize that will work properly for you. You know, here is my workflow, and you see I'm still automating all these things on the vocal. You know, so we're still automating. While I'm saying all this, I'm still working. Once you get this far, man, you could go for hours just slowly getting things the way that you want, tweaking things, you know. Let's turn that automation off. Well, before I turn it off, let's mute.
The fistic world was dull and weary. With a champ like Liston, things had to be dreary.
And we're out.
Someone with dash brought fight fans are running with cash.
So one, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you learned, what you didn't learn. Let me know how you feel about the beat. Let me know about anything that I've said. Put it down in the comments. You can definitely donate to OGOTG at Cash App, $OGOTG. PayPal.me/overtime grind. If you like anything that I've done, you can definitely check out the Gumroad and look at all the stuff that I have for sale. That definitely helps. You know what I mean? Every dollar helps. We are rebuilding the studio from a disaster I had in March. Everything helps. Salute to Akai for giving me something to get me motivated through these hard times. And I'm thankful. Hopefully you guys like the way that the channel is going and the new way I'm laying out information. Hopefully the camera is good. And we got another one, man. We ran this one down with a lot of dope stuff. It's your brother, OTG.